Welcome to this episode of To The Point. I am your host, of course, on this journey called The Show, Eric Mitchell. I have a great guest for you, talking everything that has been 2020. We have a range of guests on this show this year. You know, season one has been amazing with guests. And I figured as we get into the last few days of this wonderful show for season one, we bring on a guest that really is going to kind of talk about how we react to stress. 2020 has been the year who's challenged so many people, whether it comes to addiction or just dealing with 2020. However, weight gain, watching way too much Netflix, spending too much time on your phone, you name it, we have it. So our guest today is author, and coach Gary Smith. Now, Gary Smith, Gary, you have an amazing background. So you are, hold on, wow, there we go, the cameras are working. You are a certified coach with John Maxwell and, I mean, there's a legend all by himself. And then Mr. Ramsey also. I mean, you are truly, talk about coaching with the best. Those are the greats. That's like coaching with Michael Jordan and Tom Brady at the same time. And I did that hopefully in Connecticut. I don't know if we're a Patriots fan, but I was just giving that to you because I don't know where Connecticut sits with sports, but that's what I have. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Eric. Great to be with you today. I'm looking forward to talking for a few minutes.
Oh, absolutely. So let's get into this. As you know, we both live in the wonderful different parts of the country, but both affected by COVID-19. And it's really it's not just COVID this year, it's social justice. It's, and of course we can't go without saying it, it's also election 2020, which has weighed on everything. To think we started the year just with our embassy being attacked in Iraq, and we thought that was the biggest news, or the GOAT Kobe Bryant's passing, we thought that was probably the two biggest things that we would have to deal with after the impeachment.
Right.
And then COVID hits, and then all the social justice hits, which are great movements. We're proud here at To The Point to support Black Lives Matter because that's an important cause, and we think everybody has a right to be heard and have a voice here. But stress is one of those big things, and we see that out there. How are you advising people that you're coaching to deal with the stress that is 2020? I mean, granted, there is that other side somebody will tell you that's a cop-out to say, oh, 2020 caused this. Obviously, you have to fight through stress. In the military, we call it adapt and overcome. But what advice are you giving folks to how to deal with this stress that is caused by all the craziness that we wake up to every morning?
Well, you know, it's interesting because it's not just a matter of all the crap that's happened in 2020 thus far, but the challenge that we're facing is that those of us who are leaders in the business world, people are looking to us, and they're looking to us for certainty. And certainty is something that we can't give them. So the best that we can do is try to provide clarity that says, based on where we are and what we're doing right now, this is the action we're going to take, and then we're going to be flexible and we're going to adjust as we learn more and more about what's going on. But the thing that I'm concerned about is that any one of the events in 2020 would have blown a lot of people off course. And yet when you combine all of these things, like you were talking about, Eric, you know, we have COVID, we have social justice, we have the election, we have the economic impacts of all the things that are going on, and people either getting furloughed from their jobs or losing their jobs completely. And it just throws people for a tailspin. And the thing that I'm finding that's really hurting people, and what I'm trying to do to impact them, is to say, you got to have something that you can tie your anchor to as you're going forward. And if you haven't taken the time to find the purpose for your life and to find meaning in things, you better do it, and you better do it quickly. And that's basically what my thrust has become, is helping people find that purpose, tie themselves to it, and then use the gifts and talents that they have to begin creating a future for themselves.
I love it. Now, you have an amazing background. When I look at it, you have over 45 years, that's a compliment, by the way, 45 years of experience in business and over 22 years, as an entrepreneur, which is amazing. Now, your background is as an engineer, correct? Is that what
Yes. Yep. Started out as an engineer.
Outstanding. See, it's cool how this all comes together because you see it from a different way. When I look at engineers, you guys put things together differently, and it's always it's the amazing minds of engineers that we find. My uncle's an engineer, so that's why I'm giving you tons of shout out. Hopefully he's watching right now. Just because engineers, you guys just think in a different way. Like, I always think in a military mind, especially in a Marine Corps mind. A lot of the folks that I surround myself with, same thing. They're, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Recon Marines, and everybody kind of thinks in a different box. And then engineers, you guys are the other. I always say, if I was to break it down, and I always compare apples to apples, which is funny because I'm about ready to do this, and there's a Green Beret not very far from me when I say this, is Green Berets and engineers are very similar in the ways that you guys think and break down boxes where other people kind of think mission friendly and go. Close with, destroy, blow it up, or mark the target, do whatever you need to do. That's everybody else. And then you have, other folks that kind of piece everything together and make it make sense and break it down, compartmentalize it. So you break it down step by step as you go instead of go, blow up. That's basically the line of, that's how we're doing this. So as you've done this, would you say by the time we've reached November of 2020, for business folks, a lot of people are now freaked out. If you were a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and you look at this as a small business owner, hearing people and seeing the spike, we are now in a 3-week spike that we've never seen. Our numbers are higher than ever. With COVID, businesses are shutting down across the country again just because of quarantine. What advice do you give to people in this, what is now a perfect storm? You go into election 2020, we have the election just a few short weeks ago, and here you are again. People are shutting back down. The holidays are coming, and people won't be together as family members. And businesses are at risk because there's no bailout, there's no anything. What are you telling business owners how to keep their head on a positive? Because this is a lot of negative.
It is a lot of negative, but we have the ability to make choices when it relates to this stuff. And the choices that we have are really two. We can either freak out, as you said, or we can just take some time and take a huge chill pill and sit back and say, okay, rather than reacting to this, how do I respond in a positive way? How can I either reinvent myself or how do I use the business that I have in a different way? And part of that is realizing that we are indeed in this together. Regardless of all of the division and stuff that we're seeing in our country, we are still the American people. And we have the ability to help each other. And that's where I think coaches and consultants can be tremendously valuable to business. Just sort of, grab the business owner who's in the thick of it every day, sort of grab him by the nape of his neck and pull him back and say, look at the bigger picture and don't think short term, think long term. You have to survive today. How do we survive today? But how do we lay a foundation so that as we come out of this, we come out of it stronger and not weaker?
I love that you said that because I've been talking about unity for so long that's what we have to do. Business owners have to remember that, it's always darker before we reach the good stuff, and there's a lot, and this is just another part of the journey. We always say being an entrepreneur is a lot like riding that roller coaster, and some days you feel like $1 million, and then other days you wake up and wonder why the heck you run your own company and why you left corporate America, and then you remember you get to do cool stuff. And it used to be the reward of working from home, but now we all do, so we don't have that anymore. So when we come back, at this point, we're just gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I'd like everybody to check out, we're going to talk about your book that you just released, The Purpose-Driven Achievement. We can't wait to dive bomb into that, talk about that so entrepreneurs out there can learn a little bit more and understand that all they need to do is take a deep breath, remain calm, and remember, we're going to get through all this together. We do live in the greatest country in the world, so we're blessed to have that, and we're resilient. We've overcome a lot of things that are worse than what we're dealing with right now. We survived those, and we didn't have all the technology back then, and we did just fine. So we'll be right back after these messages.